your frequencies or your IP address, as I want to call it.
These are real-time live transformations. And if you don't believe me, well, just wait and watch.
And it's not just that I read you. I'm not like a psychic where I just read you and nothing happens. I literally help you change your genetic makeup. I'm editing or helping you change your frequency to be a better version of yourself.
So the more you fall in love, the more you become a little girl. And then that's where it starts to say separate. And that's why relationships really don't work out. So does that make sense so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Ava, when I see you, I see multiple identities that you have of you. That makes sense to you? You try to please people. You try to redefine yourself so they can love you.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom is so entangled in you. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes. So let's remove that.
You hold on to women's burdens. That feminine frequency will dump into you, especially in your midsection.
Okay.
And then you're going to get the pains of
Yeah.
what they have. You're going to get the burdens of what they have. And that's why you don't stay in relationships too long, or you stay away from relationships. It's like, shit, she's a beautiful woman and stuff, but it's no way, because I can see all the pains in her. That makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's, well, let's just say you're more normal than what you think you are.
Ooh,
right?
that's cool.
Yes. But your family, again, as they age, they start to become more, say, mentally abnormal. Does that make sense to you? Or almost like most of your energy is literally telling yourself that I am here. Does that make sense to you? If you're talking to somebody, you're afraid of literally jumping into their world, like, and then jumping into their problems, so to speak, when you're talking.
Basically, people start to break you or shatter you, okay? And that goes back into your teens, for example. I'm not going to let that happen to me again.
That's when my parents got divorced.
I feel good. A bit spacey with it.
I feel like I just feel so grateful. And
so everything that you talked about today is very relevant.
It's like the tension's all really gone, and I have a lot of scoliosis issues, so I kind of felt myself unwinding as you were talking.
Yeah, and you'll start to see, and maybe we could have you back because you'll change so much in the next 2-3 months.
I'm so grateful for you, Mas, because I know what kind of courage it takes to come outside and to see what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, Sajady here. Welcome to Moss on Sunday. Actually, it feels kind of different. I haven't been live for a couple of weeks. It's nice to be back. Nice to be connected with you all. Today we've got a very special edition. We're going to bring back some of the people that we scanned just for a few minutes at the end of every month of Moss on Sunday. So we're going to bring them back. Check on their progress and see how fast XI has transformed them. Just a couple things. Next week, again, we're going to be doing the live meditations to really help transform the world. I was in Africa for a bit, and that's why we can do it live. But just to see their lives, how some people might call it like going backwards. And by the way, I'm going to do a special edition on what's really causing, say, poverty and so on in the world, not just in third world countries or but first world countries. We've got all the technology, but why is there still poverty more prevalent than ever? And again, we should be the richest nation, or one of the richest nations, the U.S. And many other countries, right? And then why are people starving? There's millions of children that starve here in the U.S. Should that happen? I can see that maybe in a third world country, but gosh, in today's world, that shit shouldn't happen at all. But why is it getting more prevalent? Although, again, we've got the best technology, we've got more money than ever and so on, or more wealth than ever. And it's not about, well, the rich people take it all. It's not about stuff like that. It's about the consciousness. So I'll be talking about that on a special edition coming up. But next week, especially, it's going to be a live meditation. And then also I'll be working on transitioning into, say, working on individuals at a group level. So if you're in a healing, if you've tried things, your whole life and have really transformed, you might want to get your friends on the next session of Moss on Sunday. Call it a session which would be December 4th. Wow, it's December already. So anyway, let's jump into the show. First, we've got Ziba. We're gonna hi. We're gonna see how she's transformed. Ziba, so how are you? And tell me about your experience, and I'll get specific questions. But if you want to just start out, Ziba, and let me know what say where you were. How about this? Where you were when we did that live scan on Moss on Sunday, and then how long has it been, and then where you are now.
Okay, sure. So thank you for having me again.
Absolutely.
I was here in September with you, and I do a lot of healing stuff on myself. I'm constantly meditating, trying different modalities, but I've never had such a short, quick transformation as after seeing you. I was, scattered. Even you mentioned it on the last session that I would be really having all my stuff in order and I wouldn't lose anything anymore. And that's completely happened.
Wow.
I've had so many more love interests come into my life. I've had so many more friends come into my life. I feel like I've been way more abundant, so much more money has come into my life. It's really been one of the most quick transformations I've witnessed in myself. I think it's been a month and a half or 2 months now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So again, September, end of September to October, November, not that long. Have you done any other programs or anything during that time?
No, literally just from.
Wow, just that. Okay, that's fantastic. So that's really fantastic. And how long did we spend?
I think it was 10 minutes or less. It really wasn't.
Probably less than 10 minutes, although it might, so less than 10 minutes in your life transformed. And I just want to get into the science on some of the, for individuals who are XIers and then new individuals who want to understand the science of what Ziva has gone through, is that, like she said, she's done, and again, I'll work on you a little bit as well as we, continue on. But, what Ziva has done is she's tried pretty much all her life, and correct me if I'm wrong again, correct me if I'm wrong, Ziva, but overall, she's tried pretty much everything, especially, since, late teens, maybe early 20s, that she's tried pretty much everything to transform her life or get to that one person that she's always been looking for. Does that make sense so far for you?
Spot on.
Yeah. And then the cool thing about it is, and this is the point that I want to bring up, is that, when people do a lot of work on themselves, and then they don't transform, and again, the work could be anything, Ziva might have not gone to, say, some of the bigger individuals, like Joe Dispenza or Tony Robbins or any of those great individuals that are out there, but they read books, they read self-help books, they read whatever they can, they go to, whatever event that there is, they try, say, different methods and so on like that. But then their patterning is still the same. No matter what's happened, it's like, why is my life still the same? They might have different relationships. They might even make more money than before and so on like that, but they still feel the same on the inside. Does that make sense for you, Seema?
Yeah.
Or, their friends for you, especially, might have been, say, empty. No matter what friendship there was, there might have been, say, emptiness on that. So why does that happen? Well, if you put it simply, you've got this package here that you call yourself, and this package, is full of your psychology, your mindset, and all the things that you've done. Again, all the things are in this package here. But we need to go to, say, a package before you created all this stuff. Okay, so if you were like in a linear, and I wish I could draw it out for you, but your real identity or your master blueprint is, say, level 1, you know, or step 1. That's step 1, or the basis. Let's just call it step 0, because again, that's your foundation. That's who you originally are. This is your genetics. This is your patterning. This is like society's value systems. This is what I would call, say, the filter of being human in this reality. Okay, that's you, your basis here. What Ziba was changing, and what most people, and this is the difference between XI, what most people change is step 2. I'm sorry, step 1 here, their identity, their self-worth, their you know, by, again, through success or through relationships or anything else, their psychology, basically, you know, psychology, NLP, or whatever else. It's in the head. It's in the physicalness that they're trying to change. Again, you need to change your base blueprint, your master blueprint, which is step 0, again, your original foundation. And then whatever you do here works a hell of a lot better. So the key here for Ziva, and again, I want to congratulate you, Ziva, is that, you know, for you, now that your base or your foundation is, say, solid, whatever you've done in the past will work much, much easier and much, much better for you. Does that make sense? The knowledge, the intelligence, the wisdom that you've taken from whatever that you've taken, and you've taken a lot from what I've seen, or you've studied a lot, or you've experienced a lot. You've done pretty much everything, almost everything on that. Again, so if just like Ziva, if you've ever wondering why you've tried so much stuff out there, but then again, it hasn't worked out for you, or you're still feeling the same, because you didn't change your foundation. Okay, XI goes to the core level, literally starting to change your genetic functioning. And for Ziva here, just as a quickly, and then we'll move on to Eva, is that for you specifically, you know, you're going to start looking at yourself as far as, say, genetics goes. You're going to start comparing yourself with the way your mom or your dad or whoever age and so on like that, and go, wait a second, because you're still young, and it's like, wait a second, you know, I haven't I don't need to age like my parents did, and this is how we literally evolve into a higher version of ourselves, and then you can pass that new genetics onto your kids. Make sense to you? So your kids don't have the same diseases and so on like that, like your parents did. So congratulations, nice job. I would suggest doing the 18 days coming up, by the way, for you, because it'll rapidly, say, transform you and solidify who the new you is even more. So again, congratulations, Ziva. Next, we'll go to Ava.
Hi, Mas.
Hi, Ava. How are you, honey?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, absolutely. So, again, Ava, tell me what's going on with you and how you feel, and again, for the people online, comment in on what you guys see, especially the XR is up and coming, on what you see in Ava. So, tell me how when did we first do a scan, and then
so it was August, end of August,
okay,
and I was in a place where I have tried literally everything I could put my hands on, from psychology to yoga and everything in between for the last 40 years. And I was at the point that I said, okay, this is who I am. This is how my life is. I just have to accept it, and I just have to try to live with it the best I can.
Got it. Yep.
So
where are you now?
Oh, I'm not the same person.
Well, tell me more. Tell me what's changed.
I had so much changes in my life. Literally the day after the scan, things have started changing around me in my environment. It was just like not even real. And the key points. So my relationship with the man I was living with at that time has changed. My living conditions exponentially improved. And my creativity came back, which was dead for like months and months. I couldn't create anything. I'm an artist and entrepreneur. my body changed. In the scan, you were telling me that I was very much under the energy or the influence of my mother. So yes. I released a lot of those things, and my body started changing. Like it's not like losing weight or gaining weight, but actually the shape of my hands and my feet changed.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And a few days ago, I noticed that even the eye color started changing. The shade of my eyes is different.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty miraculous. And what else? So I started having inspired ideas and some opportunities popping up that I had no idea it was even available for me. I'm about to launch a new online store that I just built since then.
Great.
So it's really amazing. You were spot on.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, congratulations, Ava. And again, how long did we spend? Less than, gosh, maybe five minutes, maybe a bit more on that scan?
No, it was a little longer? Probably like 15 minutes.
Okay. 15 minutes. And then have you done any other programs after that scan?
Yes, I signed up for the 18 days, which I did. And then now I'm doing the elevation. And I did also another program to connect with the genius. Yeah.
Connecting to the genius. Yeah, that was a really good program to bring, and that's what brought out your creativity or like turned your creativity back on.
Yes, I think so.
So Ava, congratulations. I can't really read your past. I would literally have to, again, these are for the ex-hires. For the new people, you might understand it, or those who are science, you might understand it. For example, you have a file system that renders who you are, right? Just like an application, or like an application, it has a file system, like where your background is saved, where your tone, background, your tone, your ringtones and all that stuff is saved, right? If that makes sense to you, that would be your living file system, or your running file system. So with Ava's running file system, what's happened is that for her, it wasn't her file system. It was her mom's file system. So she was literally running a duplicate. So Ava was never present, especially like say in her childhood and so on like that. Does that make sense? It always felt like there was somebody else there.
Yes,
somebody else
totally.
Like controlling you. Yep. So you can call it like her mom possessed her, if you're into that phase, or science-wise, you could just literally go her genetic makeup or her frequency, because it goes beyond the genetic makeup. Again, it goes into your master blueprint, which goes into, say, your timeless spell. That genetic makeup, I would say, or timeless genetic makeup, was literally the mom's. It was an identical, say, recipe. Ava was running basically an identical recipe of her mom. So whatever might have happened to her mom at, say, 34, something similar would have happened to Ava at 34. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
and
that's
I think
correct.
that's pretty accurate. So how old are you? You said
I'm 55, almost 56.
Okay, 56. Wow, you look great for 56, and you're actually going to look even younger and more youthful. You're going to go back to your, say, early 40s and relive life, because you kind of gave up from 34 to your early 40s and so on. That's where you just gave up, and you go, shit, that's just the way life is going to be. I guess I'd rather just do it, just take it. Does that make sense? And just be the way it is.
Yeah. Well, pretty much all my life, I tried something, didn't work, so I got discouraged, and I was like, waiting a little bit, and then I tried something else again, because I'm just persistent.
So that's really beautiful, Eva. So now it's you. So this again, you continue doing on the other programs, the 18-day meditations. I think you're ready for the accelerated. Actually, by the way, if you're new joining joining the XI transformation, I would if you're new, I would definitely highly recommend the essential program of the 18 days coming up on December 5th. I know some of you think that you're advanced and so on like that. Exercise is very different than anything else out there. So again, if you're new, just for your sake, because it's really intense transformations for you, the 18 days, just do the essential. Okay. And then, after you have one essential under your belt, you understand frequencies, you understand how to say edit or change your frequencies or your multidimensional self, basically, and then you can jump into the accelerated. So Eva, you're ready really to jump into the accelerated, and this for the both of you actually, and Ziva as well, for you guys will be ready for it. And this is where you're not just fixing things, like in psychology and self-improvement and even all those other things that you do, it's always about fixing things. So it's like you two so far have like already fixed yourself. You're defined who you really are. Now what you're doing is like, hey, what is my potential? And that's what's really cool about you, Ava. Before we go on to Tom here, is that when those situations come back to you that you missed out on, because you missed out on a lot, even if you did a lot of stuff, Ava, it's just like it wasn't you doing it was your mom doing it. Anyway, a lot of those things will come out for you again. Those opportunities will show up for you. Take it. Does that make sense to you?
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And again, it's amazing how Ava has changed her body structure. Her facial structure will change, her eye color, all that stuff will change and again, she's a pretty woman. It's not that, but she changed, and it's because it's going to be her version of how she looks, not her mom's version of how she looks. So again, that's a lot of changes. Congratulations on very good. Thank you. We'll go on to Tom. And again, these are amazing. Say transformations, right? And you can't get that using psychology because like I said, Ziva, the psychology is here. You got to change your foundation, and that's what XI is about, changing your that master blueprint of who you are. All right, hey Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Hi Mazzy, I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
Oh, absolutely. So tell me about your story, Tom. When did I scan you?
It was like in the summertime.
Okay.
And before then, that's much less of an issue now, which I'm really happy about. It feels like there's kind of a floor being put in that I no longer fall as far as I used to. And also my energy levels are better because I used to get kind of fatigue as well. So yeah,
that's beautiful. Good. That's beautiful. And have you done any other XI programs, since then?
I did the THR, and like halfway through that, I felt like I'd been fired out of a cannon. It was going really well. And in fact, I've struggled a bit to maintain that, but still it's all a really positive trajectory. I think some of my old patterns seem quite stubborn, and they're reluctant to leave completely.
Yes. So again, really, congratulations, by the way, for, first off, again, transformations. And again, for you, always struggling, say, for life, always trying to stay afloat, literally trying to stay afloat where you're not drowning all the time. That's why I see you as a child or the younger version before XI. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. In fact, I wrote down the word buoyancy before coming on because that's exactly staying afloat. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because before XI, what Tom would be doing is literally, he wouldn't even have his head above water. It's like he'd be drowning and he'd have his mouth or his lips going, and he'd just like kind of buoy up and just like take a breath in, and then he'd keep sinking underwater. That's what your life in the past would have felt like. Does that make sense to you?
It does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what Tom was saying is basically, you know, when you walk out of a lake in Minnesota, there's, I don't know, over 15,000 lakes. So if you've ever been in the ocean or, you know, in the lake and so on like that, you know how it gradually, you know, steps out and you've got the shoreline. So what Tom was basically in deep water and he didn't know how to swim. Basically, if you can visualize this. So basically, you know, the session that we did, you know, on Moss on Sunday, the session that we did is like, first of all, it's like, wait a second, I know how to swim. I don't have to drown. You know, it's like that awakening that you or Tom found out that he was in control of his life. He wasn't just like buying. He wasn't going to the directions of the waves or the currents of his surroundings or his lineage, so to speak. He basically got a rudder and a motor. So it's like, shit, I know how to swim. So that awakening aspect of him came in. He started swimming towards shore, and then as you swim towards shore, you know, the water level goes lower and lower, and then like Tom was saying, he said, like, it feels like there's a foundation, a floor that he can't go below. He can't, because again, that's that you know, underneath the water, the shore, you know, the land, right? He's standing up now. And when I see you, Tom, you're about a little below half. Like if you were in that trajectory, you know, in that water, you would be almost out of the water. So you're in between your knees and your hips. That's if you were in, you know, if you're like walking out of the lake. So you've still got, you know, a little ways to go, but, you know, it's really a fantastic transformation since, you know, again, since you said summertime, you said
that's right,
that changed. So for you, a little more stickier, a little more stickier, just because some of you were asking is like, you know, why does it take longer for some people and why do people change like that? It's because, well, the indentations, or say your genetic makeup, I would say your frequency genetic makeup is more indented or more permeated. It's kind of like a tattoo. It's been more tattooed on. Some of you who can change rather quickly didn't allow that tattoo to say really sink in deep. Tom, you know, allowed at some level, not at your conscious level, obviously, Tom, you literally like marinated in those frequencies, so it was part of you. So it took a little bit, but still rather quickly compared to a lot of methods out there. And now it's like you're free. You're free. And the last part, and I've just been working on you as well, Tom, is just like, let's just let go of all that old stuff completely. And this time you'll see, like many of you, you'll see that. And by the way, how many of you, and somebody's talking about spatial intelligence or spatial referencing. I like spatial intelligence, by the way. But you'll go back into your younger days. It's somebody else's life. So your memories and so on, again, would be, say, it would feel like it was another lifetime, or it would feel like it was farther away from you. Because again, your file system that I talked about earlier, not on you, but on Ava, the last person, there's a new file system coming into place. And then your old system is further away from you. So again, it's all about, say, your multidimensional self, transforming that multidimensional self. Did that make sense for